Tuesday, January 7th, Warrenton Board of Alderman meeting. If you would, please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Starting off with the introduction of new employees. Do department heads want to do that?
Mayor and board, I'd like to introduce Steve Hodge, working for the street department.
Nice to meet you all.
Welcome aboard, Steve.
I'd like to introduce someone you might already know is Doug Stonebarger, a new full-time police officer.
Welcome aboard,
Steve.
again.
Welcome.
Aboard again. Consent agenda items. I'm sorry if I lose my voice. I'm trying to get through it.
We have the regular meeting minutes from December 17th, 2019.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Schultz. Roll call vote.
Deloy,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Tyre,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Next, we'll hear from the public. If there's anybody out in the audience that would like to come forward to the podium, state your name and your business. We'll give you 5 minutes to speak. Not see anybody, we'll move on. Next will be Board of Alderman comments.
Well, I just had a couple. Welcome back, Gary.
Thank you.
Good to see you. The other thing is, I just spoke with the mayor before the meeting. I had an email from a resident who was complaining about all of the fireworks that were going off on New Year's Eve. I explained to him that I'm extremely sorry, but there's absolutely nothing that we can do about this. He actually wanted a repeal of our ordinance regarding fireworks. And I did explain to him that unfortunately that would not solve any of our issues to have that repealed. And I would like to commend our officers. I'm sure Chief is going to talk about the incidents that we've had, but I'm very thankful that no one was injured during any of these incidents. So, and Happy New Year to all.
I also received email complaint to the same person that Cheryl got copied in on it. And I informed him that his best course of action would be to come to the meeting with he and his other supporters and plead their case. Since I don't see them, I guess they're not that concerned about it. So, also, I would like to tell just a quick story about. I was at one of the local pubs having dinner the night of the Schnooks thing, and when I got the text from Terry that they had already captured, I made the comment to some of the people who were there, and actually there was 2 tables that overheard me, and they started clapping for the city police. So job well done on that.
Super job.
So that was, of all places to get an applause, I thought that was pretty good. So
To brag on them every once in a while too. I agree with you. You just rose 2 inches and you get a big smile
That
on
wasn't
your
just
face.
us, that was also state and Wright City and county helped out with that. Hours of that incident, the suspect was identified and taken into custody.
No,
Great job.
Did an outstanding job.
Anybody else? I'll resound that, but I'll keep it to a minimum. Happy New Year's. I hope everybody was safe. I hope everybody had fun. I'll keep it to that minimum. Next, we'll hear from City Administrator Terry Thorne.
My first item for you this evening is a request for approval of the city's emergency operations plan. This was brought to light that we did not have a plan as a result of the PDs working on their CALIA program. In research found that we've actually had since 1983 an ordinance in our municipal code that created an emergency management organization, yet we never had a plan. So this plan creates the basic emergency plan along with the annexes that talk about specific activities. It's a very lengthy document and will be subject to many future revisions, I'm sure, since this is our first draft of a plan. But it is based on the National Incident Management System, so we'll work with fire and ambulance and all the things that they are normally used to in establishing those types of procedures. The basis of it is that the city will handle emergencies that are within our capabilities on our own. But then if an emergency exceeds our local capabilities, then we will call on the Warren County Emergency Management Association to step in and assist. And if then the emergency exceeds their capabilities, they would then contact the state or federal or whoever else above that needed to be brought in. So Brandy will be our emergency management director for the city, and she will be working with the other agencies, fire and ambulance, along with any of the others, and Warren County Emergency Management in the future, making sure that everything within this plan works within the plans that they already have established, and making whatever changes we need to make. But this is the first step in actually getting our own plan put together. So we still have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of pieces. We want to train the department heads on the basic levels of NIMS, the ones that have not had that, so that they're familiar with how it should work if in fact there is an emergency. So we still have a lot of work to do, but at least this draft of the plan is put together, has been reviewed by department heads. We've reviewed it to make sure that it at least in general falls in line with the Warren County Emergency Plan. So we feel like we're at this point prepared for approval and then to be able to finalize and make changes as we move forward. So asking for your approval of this plan this evening.
I know. A motion to approve the City of Warrenton's emergency operation plan.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Motion passes 6-0.
And then I have some updates for you. A reminder that our annual planning meeting is February 12th, starting at 4:30 here at City Hall in the chambers. We will be providing dinner. I'm not sure what that is yet at this point, but there will be dinner provided, so we know that it's early and it won't give everyone time to do that. So we'll bring in food of some sort. So mark your calendar, February 12th at 4:30. On your desk this evening, I gave you the listing of agenda items that thus far have been put together. Take a look at that list. If there are specific agenda items that you want to add, then let me know, and we will get those added on to this listing and do whatever research we need to do to be prepared ahead of time. Okay? Next is to just let you know, in your miscellaneous Dropbox file, you had a copy of a letter of support that I did for the Warrenton Downtown Association. Typically, we would have brought that to you here for approval, but time did not permit. They needed this letter by Monday morning. I actually talked with Stacy Blunton on Friday afternoon, so it had to be done quickly. I felt comfortable putting it together since you all have committed resources and actually supported the previous grant that they had done. This is a grant for a creative marketing plan. They've chosen the Brox building downtown as the building that they are going to utilize for the grant. And it's an 18-month marketing package that Missouri Main Street, if they get the grant, will work with them to sort of create the marketing plan for downtown. So this is a start of marketing. We have a meeting with them being the new board of the Warrenton Downtown Association next Monday. I think they have changed direction somewhat with the new board in place, so it'll be interesting to see what their current future plans are, and I will bring those back and share those with you at the next meeting. But they definitely do not want to lose the momentum that they've started downtown. And it sounds like with the new board in place that perhaps there's a little bit of a shift in direction. So we'll see where that takes us. But they needed to have their application in on Monday for this particular grant. So I did give them the letter that you have in your packet. And then you have an ordinance on this evening. The only ordinance it is for approval of agreements for the Kevin billboards that are out by the new interchange. If you recall, we previously approved 3 agreements because they previously had 3 billboards out there. At the time, they had to be taken down for the interchange construction. We entered into an agreement with the Kevins and with MoDOT for them to replace those 3 billboards. 2 of them, though, now they have made minor adjustments to the location, which requires then a new agreement with the Kevins and MoDOT on 2 of those. So this is basically something we approved before, but because of the minor change in location, MoDOT requires a new approval of the agreement. So that's the ordinance you have on. And then I think Brandy has information on the cemetery.
Yes, so as far as the cemetery goes, I don't know if any of you have heard, but James, who was our grave digger, has retired. So he's been doing this for many years for us. So we are currently interviewing a couple other companies. So that is in the process of changing. So if you hear that out there, we are in the process of changing the digger for that.
Are we also including the funeral homes in the conversation? Because I would think, obviously that's a service to them, so I don't know if they have specific issues that we need to be aware of.
Right, I think actually a couple of them called Melody right after he retired. Know that he's gone.
Okay.
So yeah, they are also in the loop.
All I have for you this evening, unless you have questions.
Let me go back to the Kevin billboard situation. The one that's still out there is the golf course, right? And that's not really a modern billboard by the standards of new billboards. Are the billboards going up? Is there a specific requirement for those, or is that part of an agreement someplace?
Yes, there have been changes at MoDOT with who handles that department that oversees the billboard component. Originally, the approval with MoDOT to replace the billboards that were taken down required that they be replaced with exactly the same style, frame, construction, everything of the original billboards. So the two that you have the new agreements for, one of those, the Kevins have been working with MoDOT to try to gain approval for a digital billboard to replace it. Whether they will be successful in that or not is anyone's guess at this point, but the requirement was that it be exactly what was taken down, which is why you see the one that's back up out there exactly as it was before. I think that was the Kevins' desire, but that was all that would be approved. So it seems like that there's a little bit more leniency at this point with the new person in place than there previously was. So the hope is that they will be successful in getting approval for this digital billboard, which would be the one that's right on the corner where the Real King store is. That's the one they're hoping to make a digital billboard. So we can keep our fingers crossed that they can actually get that approval.
Questions? Next
we'll hear from Director of Operations, Brandy Walters.
Good evening. You guys have my monthly admin report in front of you. A couple things that I wanted to point out to you is we are currently working on the newsletter. If you haven't received your email, I sent one out today that I request if you guys have articles or anything that you want to put in the newsletter, get it to me by February 7th so we can get those in there. And the other thing that we have is I want to let you know we had a tournament out at the park, at the new park, a disc golf tournament. And he did it more for like a charity event and they donated, everybody that came had to donate a toy, and a boy girl and a girl toy, and those went to charity. He ended up having almost 50 attendees for that, which was really good. Yeah, they had a lot of people out there, and it was like a nighttime one, so they put glow lights on the baskets and on their discs and everything, so it was an evening kind of in the dark. So yeah, it was a good turnout. That's all I have for you this evening.
Next, we'll hear from Finance Officer Dana Belasco.
Evening. I have before you a list of claims for your approval this evening. Claims totaling $255,069.80. Were there any questions related to those claims?
The only question I had is there's several invoices for the All-American Handyman. It looks like some of the work was done on the pool side, and some was done in sewer and maintenance. What kind of work did they do, and is there issues going on that we should related to the pool, or is it just normal maintenance?
The electrician.
Oh, is that what it is? It's electrician. Okay. All right.
I'll entertain a motion for approval of the accounts payable in the amount of $255,069.80.
So, second.
Hawk and then Deloy. Motion made by Alderman Hawk, seconded by Alderman Deloy. Roll call vote.
Alderman Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes. Motion passes 6-0.
Fund, the revenues for the general fund are above budget, about $21,000. A mixture of reasons for that. You'll see sales tax is just slightly below budget, maybe $2,000 in the general fund. You'll see that $1,000 above budget. You'll also find that the pool permitting is about $14,000 above budget. So those are the revenues for the general fund. Operating expenses for the general fund in total are $360,000 below budget, which includes personnel costs, which is running about $135,000 below budget, just related to vacancies and such. Pool expenses are running below budget, $61,000 below budget. The balance of that is just related to supplies and maintenance that just haven't been purchased yet. In the water and sewer fund, revenues are about $210,000 above budget. This includes residential and commercial sales of water and sewer, which are about $24,000 above budget. Industrial, about $84,000 above budget. Connection fees related to water and sewer connections, about $56,000 above budget. In that water and sewer fund, operating expenditures are about $130,000 below budget. $49,000 of that, again, personnel cost, just vacancies. The balance of that, again, is just maintenance supply items that we intend to purchase throughout the year. So those are the highlights from the November financials. Were there any questions on those reports?
Yeah, I was going to ask about the sales tax report being off 2,000, which is great. But when we budgeted that, did we take like the total budget and divide it by 12 so our budget's even, or are we anticipating on the budget that it would go up as Rural King opens.
Yeah.
Because if we budget it even and Rural King opens and they do great, then we're going to be over. But if we budget it kind of on a curve basis, we might be tracking about the same. Do you remember?
I think there was a little bit of an allowance there for additional sales at final quarter
Okay.
with the store opening. Again, with it being so unknown at this point, there may not have been a huge impact, but a little bit more.
Questions? Thank you, Dana. Next word from the Aquatics Director, Lisa Kramer.
Good evening. You have in front of you my report. A couple of highlights that I like to go over. Last month we sent out a holiday card to all of our members, just wishing them a happy holiday season. And in that card, they were able to have 12 passes for anybody, friends or family that they wanted to share the pool with. We sent out about 120 cards, and to date, we've had about 32 passes come back and being redeemed. So we're reaching out to people that don't normally come to use the pool as a marketing tool. So we're excited about that. We did our first safety around water with the Warrenton Care Days, and we had 49 kids participate in that at the pool. They came and practiced their water safety skills that they learned in the classroom for 4 weeks, and were able to have a hands-on program with that. Our next safety around water program is going to be with the Little Lambs preschool at the St. John's Lutheran Church, and they'll be starting at the end of January. This is a program that's getting the word about safety, wearing life jackets, not going into any body of water without permission from a lifeguard or an adult. So hopefully we'll be reducing drowning and have drowning prevention happening. And then lastly, coming up in 2 weeks on January 18th, we're going to kick off a new program called Splash in Pajamas. We're inviting parents to drop their children off ages 5 to 12 on a Saturday night. We will feed the children. We'll have games and activities in the pool. We'll have some crafts, and they can pick their kids up at 10 o'clock. So it's a baby program at the pool, and hopefully will allow parents some time on their own. While we
And what will the charge be for that, Lisa, to do that? Do you know?
I believe it's $20 for a member.
Okay.
First child, and then I think it was $5 every additional child. And they'll be getting pizza dinner, the activities, and a snack.
Chris
Wow.
wants 2 tickets.
I'm gonna pass my 2-year-old off. What was that?
As a 5-year-old.
Ages 5 to 12, and you do have to come back at 10 to come pick them up.
That is a great idea.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Anybody else have any questions?
I had 2 things. One, I noticed the silver sneakers line is still all zeros. Are we making any kind of progress in terms of us being able to qualify? Where are we at on that?
So we are good with the silver sneakers. We are now taking those memberships. At the time of this report, we had not had anybody come to redeem them. We have sold, they're free, a few silver sneakers memberships. Most of the community we're finding is waiting for Renew Active to come through, and we are waiting for that contract to be finalized, and then we'll see a lot more of that coming
What
through
is
as well.
Renew Active?
It's through United Healthcare,
Okay.
benefit through them.
So if you were a United Healthcare member, then you could take advantage of the Silver Sneakers program, no? Or
No, Renew Active and Silver Sneakers are 2 separate benefits by different insurance companies. And so one insurance company that does Silver Sneakers has been approved, but the Renew Active has not been completely approved yet.
The other question is, I'm wondering if, and you have to think about this, maybe Terry too, is, as we take over management, sometimes when we report numbers, think about how we can look at trends. Because we certainly want to see some kind of trend to see how we're doing stuff differently than it was under the management team and what kind of responses we're getting? Because I know a lot of these programs, there was nothing to trend. These are all new for us, so which is a great thing. But I wonder if there's some kind of trending we could start looking at some point. When does it make sense to start having a little report and something to think about?
The problem that I see with trying to do really any trending that makes sense is there was so little information provided by the management company. Like a breakdown like this is non-existent.
Okay.
So I think we will be able to make comparison the new year to the old year and those things that existed, but I don't think it would be meaningful information to try to make comparisons with information that is not valid at best.
Okay, that's fair.
I sat down with the Warren County R3 superintendent who had nothing but good things to say about the program that you guys had put. Thought it was great. Real welcoming of the city trying to work with the school and trying to get some. Sang the praises. Questions? Next, we'll hear from Public Works Director Guy Jeevers.
Evening, Mayor and Board. First item I have is my monthly report. Some fire hydrant repairs and some water main flushing. Had 3 sewer calls and they were on a private service, so there wasn't on the city. Any questions?
To me, the most interesting thing on your report, and I always look at these, are the water production history. Our water production history this year was lower than it's been for the last 7 years. That's amazing. You know, in a community that's growing, you know, that your total water production is lower than it was 7 years ago at any time period. I mean, that's, you know, I don't know what that is attributable to, but I think it's a good sign. I mean, we're talking about, you know, 251,000 gallons this year, and there was no years in the last 7 that were even close to that. They were all way over. So I don't know if that's because we're stopping leaks or infiltration or what it is.
We try to fix what we see is leaking, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
just think that's
accountability too, you know, people getting leaks at their house that we're catching.
Right. I just think that's an amazing.
Next item I have is the discussion on well 5. Well 5 is located south on 47 at the old fire station, right there next east to Lakeview. And the fire station is for sale, and the well 5 is not in use. It's just a building with a well in it. There's no storage for it. It's not in the system at all. And we're looking to abandon that well and remove it. And we don't have in the budget the money to abandon the well, but the people that have the fire station on the market is having a hard time selling it because there's a well there and it's not. Well belongs to the city, but it's not on the city's property. I guess when they did the fire station, the well was there at the same time. So what I'm wanting to do is get a letter wrote out to the real estate agent saying that we will abandon the well after July 1st of the new fiscal year, and so we can put the money in the budget for that.
What does it take to abandon a well? I mean, you're talking about money, other than legal costs. I guess you'd have to do something on a deed.
You got to pull the pumps and pull all the electric out, and then they fill the shaft with benzite and seal it that way.
Ballpark idea?
I got a bid at $16,895, and that was just an estimate, and I did that in October, November. Just got to, so it might go up a little bit. I'll know closer to July, but the new fiscal budget of where we're at. So what I'm looking for is a letter stating that the city will abandon the well in the next budget.
Is this from a company that
Yeah.
puts in wells?
Yes. So it'll be,
As well?
the bid I got was from Danny Flynn.
Oh,
He
okay.
didn't want it to pool. So what he'll do is he'll fill it in. He does all the DNR paperwork or whoever does it will do all the DNR
Right.
paperwork and notify DNR, because DNR still counts it as a well and still does a well inspection when they're here, and there's no use for that well.
So we're looking at the drawing here, and so the well's sitting on the parcel property that's being sold. And we must have some kind of easement to have it there, so we'd have to release the easement and fix it back, and then it would probably make the property more,
More
possibly
sellable.
sellable. Yeah, sellable. So,
That's sure that's that little building right there.
right, that,
Yeah, that's the well house.
right.
So
And by providing a letter to the real estate agent signifying that we've agreed to abandon the well, it allows them to go ahead and
Right.
market that property. Right now, everybody's hesitant. They don't want to buy a piece of property with a well that they might have to pay to be abandoned in the future. So by giving them something saying that we've agreed to do that and it'll be done in our next budget, it sort of frees them up to go ahead and be marketing the project without that knowledge, that with the knowledge that somebody's not going to get stuck with the cost of abandoning the well.
Is she saying a delay, if we delay till July 1 to put it in the budget, is they saying that's going to hinder sales any, or?
No, she actually was thrilled that we were willing to give them documentation in the form of a letter
Okay.
Yeah,
to move that forward.
I'm sure it's about getting clear title to the property. You'll never get title insurance to buy that property, and I'm sure that's probably, whether it's somebody going to use the building or tear it down and redevelop it. It's basically probably unmarketable. Now, you said there was an easement, but I wouldn't assume there is. But
Who knows what happened back
we'll
then?
probably file some type of disclaimer
Right.
at the end that the well's been abandoned. Any rights of access are abandoned as well.
I know it's just a discussion, but are you needing a motion to proceed with the letter? Okay, any questions on this? I'll entertain a motion to approve a letter being sent in regards to abandonment of the well.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Shell Harvey, seconded by Alderman Dyer. Roll call vote.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey.
Yes. Motion passes 6-0.
all I have. Thank you.
Next we hear from Chief of Police Larry Eller.
Evening. I have 3 general orders for your approval tonight. The first, outside employment, is a revision. We added language to that requiring the city of Truesdale to generate an MOU with us so that our officers who hold dual commissions with Warrenton and Truesdale, our officers are working as Truesdale officers. They abide by Truesdale's policies and procedures, not ours, and any actions they take are those of Truesdale officers, not ours. The second is disciplinary system. That one is new. That one just mirrors the existing city disciplinary system. Critical incidents order is basically the EOP for the police department. When it's larger than the police department can handle, we move to the city EOP that that's basically the first.
I was, kind of curious is if you're in the community, you're familiar with officers, and you see an officer that's typically a Warrenton officer, and he's working in Truesdale. How would they know the difference? But I guess there's a uniform difference. So they're not going to be wearing Warrenton uniforms, so it'll be quite clear then that that's the case.
And originally that was facilitated because our SROs also work in Truesdale venue, so they could also be in Truesdale city limits,
Right.
dressed as a Warrenton police officer.
Right. Yeah, so the person wouldn't really know the difference, but I could see that some people asking questions about that who have a little bit more contact. So does the policy talk about any, and I didn't get a chance to thoroughly read it, talk about any other outside employment that are allowed, or is this primarily focused on being an officer in another municipality?
Yeah, it goes into detail about restrictions on where and when, how much you can work.
So there's time limitations on it.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the following outside employment, disciplinary system, and critical incidents policies as submitted. So moved.
Second.
With the motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Shell Harvey. Roll call vote.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 01-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Mock, second by Alderman Dyer.
Ordinance authorizing execution of the supplemental waiver and reset agreement number 1 between Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission, the City of Warrenton, Missouri, and Eugene Keevan for permit 7046 and permit 7047.
Entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 01-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman.
An ordinance authorizing execution of the supplemental waiver and reset agreement number 1 between Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission, the City of Warrenton, Missouri, and Eugene Keevan for permit 7046 and permit.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderman Dyer?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Bill passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion to close the regular Board of Alderman meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Schultz, second by Alderman Dyer. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are so adjourned.